So in this video, we are going to cover 10 public speaking tips that will help both before, during, and after a talk so that we can create the maximum impact within our audience and for the minimum stress within ourselves. Because when we're speaking for the first few times, it can be quite stressful if we let it. Now, as you're watching this video, if you do like or get value from the concepts that we talk about, hit like and also comment below if you have other tips or perspectives to share. And don't forget to hit subscribe to get reminders for the 3 videos per week that we do on this channel to help you with, things like this or online business or mindset in entrepreneurship and so on and so forth. All right, so like, comment, subscribe if you get value from this video. So let's get started with the first tip, which is how we show up before we actually go on stage and before we talk. Now, you'll notice a lot of the time when you speak for the first time that we have a lot of energy, a lot of nervous energy in our body, and often we'll call it nervous energy. But the thing to recognize is that being nervous and being excited physiologically are extremely similar. And so just a minor detail that we can really tap into is, do we see ourselves before the talk as nervous or do we see ourselves before the talk as excited? And this minor shift in how we frame the feelings that we're feeling within our body can have a very different impact about how we feel when we're about to walk on stage. And as well as that, in the run-up to talking, I remember the first time that I ever spoke was in London in 2017, April 2017. And for about the 2 months beforehand, I'd often lie in bed and I'd be picturing myself going on stage. And I very quickly learned to catch the negative thought patterns of all the things that could go wrong and learned to just embrace the worst case scenario, surrender to whatever happens happening, just let it go, stop trying to control or predict the future outcome and just pull myself back into the present moment. And I would do this all the way right up until literally the first few minutes before I went on stage. The point where I'd start to really feel that energy in my body is when the speaker before me has walked off and the MC or the coordinator would come on, and then he's doing his little bit before he's going to announce me. And I just tell myself, I'm excited, I feel ready, I can feel that energy in my body. It's excitement, I'm excited. And just that whole framing of surrendering, letting go, stop running the thought patterns of the worst thing that could happen, embrace the worst case scenario, just let it be, and then see yourself as excited means that when you walk on stage, you're doing it from a place of calm, relative calm, but from a place of calm, from a place of confidence, from a place of power, and from a place of throwing yourself into it face first instead of wanting to, recoil in fear because of nervous energy. So it's a very distinct difference, right? So that's the first tip. How you show up on stage is going to be a big, big factor in how you perform when you're there. And then number 2 is the second that you walk on stage, people are going to start forming an impression of you in the first few seconds. And so your use of body language, your use of posture, how you show up and how you present yourself in front of your audience is going to, again, have a major impact on how the talk goes. So we've got to make sure, especially right at the start, that we are solid, we are shoulders back, we are standing with confidence, we are standing with power, with an open posture. Right? If we have closed body language where our shoulders are hunched forward, where our eye contact, which I'll touch on in more detail in a second, but where our eye contact is a little all over the place and where we're closed, we are not going to be showing up in the best way to our audience, and we are not exuding confidence and openness and power, right? So we need to open up our body language and be solid in our stance. Don't rock from foot to foot like that. It's going to come across as very nervous. So solid in our stance, open in our posture. And then the third tip off the back of that is your use of hands, right? How you use your hands when you're on stage. Now, a couple of very quick do's and don'ts is don't close off, right? Don't guard. I'm just going to do it so you can see it on camera. Don't guard your posture. Don't close your hands like this. Certainly don't clasp your hands like this, because that will portray psychologically, it's not portraying trust, it's not portraying openness, it's creating a sense in other humans that we are guarding and we are keeping secrets and we are not being honest and open. So when we're open with our gestures, open with our hands, and when other people can see our palms, in psychological evolutionary terms, for someone to see your palm shows openness, it shows that you're not a threat, and it shows that they can trust you, right? So palms, let people see your palms as you talk, as you gesture, and so on and so forth. And also make sure that you don't point. So pointing shows detachment. It's an accusatory way of using your body, where you are creating detachment and you are creating separation between you and the audience. Pointing signifies you and me, right? You and me. Now, however, if you want to point or gesture at something, do it with an open hand, right? Like so. So don't point and gesture, because that's going to come across as very dominating, very accusatory, and very separating for you and your audience. If you do want to gesture, you gesture with open palms. You gesture like this, like this, like this, things like that, but no pointing. And also try to get into the habit of using your hands and your gestures with purpose. So I personally just talk with my hands quite a lot anyway, and my hands are I'll use them to elaborate the points that I'm making. If I want to drive something home, like the gestures that I use, the way that I express, so like this, the way that I express myself is really emphasizing the points that I'm making. And so make sure that when you're using you're not fidgeting, you're not playing with pens, playing with other things, or the clicker if you're using slides for a presentation. Make sure that you're not fidgeting in your hands and doing awkward, uncomfortable gestures all over the place, because that's going to distract people. It's going to be too much. Right? If you are going to use your hands and use your hands for gestures, it's got to be non-fidgeting, it's got to be emphasizing points, open gestures, and it's going to help you deliver the message that you're delivering with purpose and intention and emphasis. That's how to use your hands. So number 4 is eye contact. Now the eye contact that you make has to be direct, it's got to be intentional, and it's got to be purposeful. So each time you're delivering a point, each time that you're, emphasizing something, you're holding eye contact with different people in the audience. And each time you hold eye contact, hold it for a bit longer than feels comfortable, at least a couple of seconds longer than feels comfortable. And when you can do this, and let's say you start moving around the stage a little with purpose, each time that you do move, make sure that you stop and make sure that you ground yourself, you plant. Don't rock from side to side like this, don't fidget, plant yourself. And when you do that, especially when you're delivering a powerful point and you're emphasizing, you hold and make eye contact with a specific person, and then you move to different areas of the room as you make the next point, and then another area of the room as you make the next point, but you hold that eye contact. And that's a very, very powerful way to build that connection and build that relationship with the people in your audience. And it's going to signify that you are someone of confidence, someone of power, and someone who is delivering a message that is worth listening to. And then number 5 is how you use the tone in your voice. So there's a whole science behind this, which I'm not going to go into in this video, but in super simple terms, and this is a big generalization, so anyone who's studied this, don't shoot me out here, but big generalization is when you upward inflect, that shows that you're not confident in your message and you're questioning yourself. And when you downwards inflect, it shows that you know what you're talking about and you have certainty. Right? So the use of tonality, the use of your inflections are going to demonstrate whether you're confident in the message you're delivering. Downwards inflection, downwards inflection, downwards inflection. But if I upwards inflect and I'm questioning myself and I'm doubting myself, that's going to come across. Your audience are going to feel that. So when you deliver your message, particularly the powerful points that you want to emphasize, make sure to use downwards inflections. And then number 6, off the back of that, is your use of silence is one of the most powerful tools that you have in your arsenal. This is such an undervalued area of communication. But when you deliver, again, particularly a powerful point that you want to emphasize, you deliver that point and shut up. And that breaking communication, that silence, will do a few things. First of all, it allows the minds of the people in the audience to catch up with the message. Second of all, it shows that you are confident and you are calm. You don't need to fill the space with filler words and just with blurting out your message and rambling. When you can use silence effectively, you're showing that you have confidence in the message you're delivering. And so the use of silence in communication is a super powerful thing to leverage. And also, when you use silence effectively, it allows you to figure out your train of thought more confidently before you deliver it. So never, ever, ever freak out if you find yourself being quiet, because the silence creates power, it creates emphasis in the points that you're delivering as you speak. And then number 7 is stick to one core idea throughout the presentation. I've made the mistake before. This was I particularly made this mistake in Toronto would have been about summer 2017. And I tried to go through way too many points. I tried to cram, I think, 7 different points into one 30-minute presentation. And I feel that I was able to kind of, keep it all centered around one theme well enough that it still made sense and delivered value. But it would have been so much more effective and powerful if I just focused on one core theme point throughout the entire presentation. And we've got to get in the habit of doing that. When you're first building or putting together a slide deck or putting together, the sort of general structure for what you're going to talk about, it's very easy to overestimate how much we can cover in what time. With the first draft, I think I ended up with almost 60 minutes worth of material that I was supposed to get down to 25 minutes, which was a real challenge. So err on the side of caution. I would recommend you deliver or aim to deliver less points, right? Less areas to cover than you think that you'll need, because it will generally take you longer to cover them than you think it will. Right? So one core idea, one central theme that you keep linking back to in your message is going to serve you a lot better than diluting what it is that you're covering with multiple points, multiple ideas, and so on and so forth. So keep it condensed. And then number 8 off the back of that is to use simple notes and simple slides. If you have a slide that's going up which has a ton of information, a ton of writing, a ton of bullet points, and people really have to try and put their focus into reading out those points, they're not going to be listening to you, and it's going to seem cluttered and the message will not be clear. And second of all, if you're reading out the points on the slide, well, you're basically then just parroting what people can read anyway, which doesn't really come across as giving value or you being a leader or an expert in what you're talking about. So if you're using slides or if you're using notes, keep them as extremely condensed, direct, specific bullet points, maybe 2 or 3 points on one slide, or just one sentence or one point that you're going to talk around. And do not script yourself either. Don't fall into the trap of trying to literally memorize an entire script. Give yourself a bullet point and then talk around that point more freely, more conversationally. And off the back of that, number 9 is to be natural, be yourself. A lot of the time when we talk for the first time, we get really hung up in things like these top tips, right? Which are useful, but you don't want to sacrifice yourself and sacrifice your natural personality in order to fit in these top tips, because you're going to come across as very stilted and very awkward and unnatural. One of your biggest assets is in you being yourself, you being your character, you being a personality, you being a human that other humans can relate to. So if we're talking, if we can learn to embrace ourselves and be comfortable in our own skin, be okay with ourselves, we're going to be a lot more relatable and a lot more connected to the other human beings in the audience. Right? So embrace yourself, don't resist yourself, don't try and make yourself not yourself. It's okay to be yourself. Embrace your quirks, your mannerisms, and so on and so forth. Think of these tips as a way of refining your existing character, refining who you are. Don't think of it as a way of replacing or covering up who you are. It's refining who you are, just to make who you are more effective in delivering a powerful message. And then the final point off the back of all of this, number 10, is that after you've delivered your talk, it's going to be natural to run through again and again and again and again in your mind about all the things you could have done different and all the things you wanted to say that you didn't, and all the ways you might have slipped up and that people could have judged you and blah 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 blah. Crucial point is to just let all of that go. We judge ourselves 10 times harsher than anyone else possibly would, and just if you catch yourself running those patterns, ask yourself, if you were in the audience and you were watching someone else on stage, would you be judging them in the same way that you're telling yourself that others are judging you? And the answer is no. We'd never be judging someone else to even remotely the extent that we think that others are judging us. So when you catch yourself running those disempowering thought patterns about what we could have done better and how we came across badly and how we messed up what we wanted to say and blah blah blah, none of that stuff exists anywhere but within our own mind. Other people aren't thinking it. It's only us that are thinking that other people are thinking it. So learn to just go, you know what happened, I can't change it, let it go. Nobody's thinking all of that anyway. It doesn't exist except in my own mind. Let it go, right? Onwards, be comfortable, embrace yourself, embrace what's happened. And at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything anyway. Nobody cares. So I hope these top 10 tips have given you some powerful ideas if you do end up speaking in front of a group of people, on how to deliver a powerful message and also how to approach it with the right mindset. So again, if you've enjoyed this, if you've liked this, hit like. If you do have other tips or perspectives to share, please comment down below, because a lot of people do get value from reading the comments as well. And finally, if you liked this video and you want more like this, then hit subscribe, which you should see in the bottom corner right now, and you'll get and don't forget to hit the notification bell, and then you'll get 3 videos like this every single week to help you in entrepreneurship, online business, or general mindset in business and in life. So thanks very much for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now.